Hello there, my watchers in the dark. What's up, everybody? It's Asmodai, and today we're doing our first holiday stream. Um, so, just gonna be very casual today, just having fun. I'm here with my brother-in-laws, and we're all just painting, having a good time. Trazen's, I think, painting up some. What are you working on? Saurus?
Yes.
Ah, he's working on some Saurus warriors. I've been working on. I can bring him out here in front of you guys. Actually, had a better focus with that good old Secret Layer 20 Ways to Win. Apparently, best deck ever. Just kidding, lol. Um, so, I am painting up for a Age of Sigmar army. I'm going with the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. And, ooh, can I get more than that? There we go. I have a couple more in my display case that I can grab probably later on, but having fun working through them. I've done some of the good old golden ultramarines, we'll call them. Actually, does not look that bad for like a quick slapdash of like an hour. I like that. Sometimes it's always fun to stare at minis that you've worked on and then think that they've looked better than when you thought they did. That makes no sense. You know, I love stumbling over my own words. But to keep in holiday tradition, we are going to be painting up the red gobbo. Man, my camera is super zoomed in right now. There we go. There we go. The red gobbo. And also, because I love rattlings, we do also the provisionally prepared. Because truly, rattlings. Oops. And then you're also going to be working on the Age of Sigmar red gobbo one, the one with the squig, right?
Yes.
Sick.
We are a bit short on glue for production, so currently using pieces.
Oh, I actually did go on out and replenish our glue supplies. We got a fresh shipment from the Rock, so we can get that all rolling. I'm gonna go see where Belial threw that.
Please just give it
All right, everybody, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go and see if I can go grab some glue. I'll be right back. Hello. Sorry about that. Had to go and grab the glue. But we will start to getting to build up the provisionally prepared first because, well, brand new rattlings are always a great thing to have. I do think it's been a pretty crazy year for new miniatures and new sculpts. I mean, basically brand new rattling gunners, new rat god. Or is he just technically like? Is it actually the horned rat, or is he just the like the physical like embodiment of the rat god right now? Because I don't remember off the top of my head.
What is it? He's a scour. He is a greater demon of great horned rats, from what I recall. But I don't really keep up with Sigmar lore that closely, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I would imagine that it just makes him like the greater demon. That makes more sense because it's not like you can't play Zeech or Khorne directly in Age of Sigmar. But still, I mean, crazy year for Age of Sigmar releases. Beautiful new sculpts. Finally getting Fulgrim at some point. Though it's not the cool Fulgrim that like requires brass rods and horrible packaging from Forge World, which is, well, what we expect from Forge World.
I appreciate Human Workshop taking responsibility to update some of their older ranges.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that like we've always been like memeing about like Eldar never getting refreshes, Tower only ever getting new battle suits, no other like the psychic owl bears they have or any new Kroot, well, until this year. This year really just has been fucking crazy. Sorry, pardon the cursing. We'll put a Yawgmoth there in post editing. But yeah, so we are going to be getting some of this painted on up and built up. Also, happy Sanguinala to everyone. Hope we all remember what Sanguinius died for all of us. May he rest in peace. Well, pieces. I'm glad I got a laugh from people on that one. I was worried that would not go over too well.
I'm not even a big Warhammer fan. I thought that was funny.
Thank you. But yeah, just a nice chill stream today. Building up some rattlings. Where is the number 11 on this? Ah, there it is. Come on. There we go. Get that down. There we go. So we can at least clean up and build this one little ratlin here. So I do wonder, when we get finally our line of Emperor's Children, what new Space Marine mini are we going to get? Or are they going to finally, like, give us a better, like, Land Raider? And call it, like, the Call Raider. It was made by Call.
There is still a unrevealed hover vehicle that people think is going to be a new Primarch model. A few months ago, a few weeks.
Did you see that on, like, the Warhammer Rumor engine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I remember seeing, like, the, like, Thunderhawk engine. Though I don't always keep up to date on exactly what spoilers are showing us, because half the time they choose to, like, do that and then, like, wait, like, 5 years and then finally put it out. Because Games Workshop be that way. And to all of you guys who join us while we're live or watch this over when it's just up on YouTube, thank you so much. If you like what you see, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It always means a lot to the channel. And I'm planning on doing more streams. This is just the very first one. So getting more used to the formula, what to expect, what to look for. But plan on doing these, like, hopefully at the beginning, starting off at, like, maybe once every month. Show some, behind the scenes sneak peeks at what videos are being worked on, what we're working towards, and just channel goals in general, which, good segue, want to tell everybody that we have a couple of goals that we are working towards. First one is when we hit 500 subscribers, I plan on going on out and getting a Thunderhawk gunship to paint up in some Dark Angels colors and then play a game with. Which definitely will not be pain and tedium because of Forge World. And then the 1,000 subscriber tier, I've been thinking about it, and I'm torn between either attempting to do like 50 Terminators, but from like 5 from 10 different chapters of Dark Angels and all put them together in one big strike force, or do the crazier thing and possibly get a Warhound Scout Titan. Which personally, I think that would be the cooler option. I would love to get a Warhound Scout Titan, just for the funsies of it. But I would like to hear really what you guys think and about that. And if we have any other goals we want to change on up to, we can always go from there and fiddle around with numbers. I'm always flexible. Of course, my thing is being very annoying. Come on, you. There we go. Now I can actually see the chat box. Sometimes the Streamlabs OBS for YouTube freaks on out and it doesn't always work. Yep, so for those of you just joining us, we are working on some Ratlings. These are the new commemorative miniatures. Oh, yep. Actually, well, just to answer your question, we are working on some Ratlings. Did I even spell that correctly? I think I did. Yep. We are just working on these guys. It's going to be kind of fun. I want to do some, I've had a couple of these like commemorative series models, and I thought, what a better time than the holidays and, you know, Sanguinala to actually work on these. So, well, that's what we're doing. And while I'm working on this, I do have my brother-in-law is. Are you still working on that source, or are you actually working on the squig now?
I am now putting together the Red Gabo. He is a precarious model. The way they put it together, you glue both halves of the body together, and then the squig is holding presents in its mouth. So you glue the presents together in a little bundle, and then awkwardly glue the upper and lower half of his jaws on top of the bundle of presents, which I will then glue onto the neck. Is about as pleasant as it sounds.
Darn, that Age of Sigmar squig sounds like it's going to be a nightmare to actually build. These Ratlings are very tiny, but you know, if you've built any Hearthkin, yeah, they're about the same level of smallness. Or Skaven. Actually, wait, do you have your Skaven over there? I want to see a size comparison between these Ratlings. Oh my gosh, they are so much... The Ratlings are so much tinier. That's utterly hysterical. Perfect. Thank you. But yep, we are just working on some Ratlings right now, and we'll be showing some sneak peeks of things coming up onto the channel. Not sure if you can see them right here, but we do have some Hellblasters that may or may not be part of a video coming on out soon that really turned out well. I'll give you a little sneak peek on them. Really like the way the armor and the guns came on out on them. They look fantastic and superb. And the video is going to be very fun on them. Just holidays have not been the friendliest for time constraints. But how is everyone out there doing? I know I've been asking my brother-in-laws what they've been up to, but how's your holidays been so far? Actually, I'm not sure. Is Build Paint and Destroy still in here? And if so, how was your holiday? There we go. Tight fit on that little chest piece right there. Then I think we got the head and 1 foot, and this one Ratling will be done, and then we can get to the base. And if any of you guys are wondering what I'm actually using for glue, just using some regular plastic cement, but I've added some old sprues to it to kind of help cover up any seams or just make a better weld for the plastic bits, and I think it really, really helps out a lot, especially when there are some that just refuse to kind of go into their correct places, like this rattling is being. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, what models are you going to be building on up? And also, awesome that your holidays have been going well. And thank you for the comment on the paint jobs. It does mean a lot. Sorry, my chat log is being a bit slow on my end, so I didn't get to see that immediately. Oops. Oh, other minis we will be working on today will be some Dark Angels bikers. Hopefully I can start building up those guys when I'm priming up my rattling here. Actually, Build Paint Destroy, what faction are you playing? Oh, an Invictor Tactical Warsuit. Yes, okay, Invictor Tactical Warsuits are absolutely amazing. Actually, speaking of which, let me grab something. That's just a fun little thing since you actually brought up an Invictor Warsuit. Yeah, I don't have mine. Well, mine's fully painted off. It's not fully glued yet. But this was the Invictor Warsuit that I painted up for my Dark Angels. And I will say the Invictor Warsuit is probably one of my favorite minis just because it's so hysterical. It's just a cute little dreadnought that you just get to throw a small Space Marine inside of. But yeah, I would love to see a Invictor Tactical Warsuit for Salamanders. Are you gonna put any like fun flame designs on there? Yeah, I personally for salamanders, I've always been a little scared to paint them just because of the flame effects. I know I've done some bringers of judgment would have like the gold flames on their like white boots, but yeah, there's something about for salamanders that I always want to make sure their fire looks like super freaking bright. And oh, yours will definitely come out that well. I mean, the Invictor Warsuit, as much as it looks like there's a lot. The cool thing is that like there's a lot of space where you can place on some of the decals. So for the actual salamander head, you can get away with doing that. And what you can do is you can place down some like you can place down a gloss coat, place your like little transfer, and then go on over with a matte like varnish coating on top, and that will kind of make it look like it's all uniform or painted onto the miniature. And the flames, as much as flames seem very difficult to do, the fun part is that since they are huge plumes of fire, you can kind of get away with, oh, I accidentally made a mistake, and just kind of connect a little flame tip there. And most people will be like, oh, that looks freaking sick. So I think you'll knock it out of the park with those flame designs on the Invictor Tactical Warsuit. I think it'll be awesome. And like I said, since there's so much like panel work on there, it's a whole lot like friendlier to freehanding. Because like, if it was freehanding on like the fire on like the boots of the Space Marine, yeah, I'd probably be not wanting to do that for every single one. But like putting a giant like flame panel on like the shoulder or on the gun or the cannon, hell yeah, it'll look perfect. But yeah, that's actually really freaking awesome. I cannot wait to see how that warsuit comes out. You'll need to send me an image. And I think I actually almost have all the pieces cut on out for the next Ratling. So hopefully we can get him built, based, and then primed. And then we'll be all groovy go. And I want to say thank you for everyone here watching. It's awesome to have you all here on the holidays. Hope everyone's been enjoying it. Happy Sanguinala. And also, I'm not sure how many of you got to see the reveals for Fulgrim. Really like it. Just wish we got to just use the like Age of Sigmar, or not Age of Sigmar, the Heresy series. Oh, what was it? It wasn't Enlightened Fulgrim. What was it?
Fulgrim Transfigured.
Fulgrim Transfigured. That's what it was. I always know they got to put like some weird ass name with it. But I love that one. But damn, do I hate working with resin. Resin can be a very fickle mistress when it comes to actually painting something. Oh, and before I forget, for the Invictor Warsuit, don't glue any of your joints necessarily. When I built mine, all of my joints still do come apart. It just makes it so much easier to kind of paint and build up in freehand. When you don't have to worry about like arms flopping around or like pinning anything or, you know, scratching a paint job. Oh yeah, doing a YouTube short of the building? Yeah, hell yeah, I love that. Oop, ow. That actually kind of hurt a little bit. Definitely didn't just cut myself a tiny bit. If you don't also mind me asking, what else are you going to be building up with the Invictus Warsuit? Or do you have the rest of your army already put together? Magnetizing the joints also works really well, as you can tell, because I did not magnetize my bottom. I've been meaning to, I just have not gotten around to it. Magnetizing is definitely the way to go for joints, especially on bigger ones, especially if you want to swap out the guns. I ever since I first built up what was it, one of my very first armatures, I never like magnetizing these joints. I just like the way they spin and pivot by themselves. That's a personal preference on my own thing. But yes, if you want to have by far the most superb limb building, experience, magnets are the way to go. And I'm not sure if your local game store has a good selection of them. If not, the Magnet Baron is a great place for magnets. I actually have some little tiny ones that I used for. These fit perfectly for guard mono arms, in case you ever want to swap them on out for a kill team. Which, speaking of which, I actually do have some of the kill team guys from. Can the camera focus? Yeah, there we go. Kill team guys from the new release. What was it? Hive. Oh, what was the kill team with the flying Hive Storm? That's what it was. Brain's been all fuzzy recently. Did not get much sleep last night. Does your game store do? Oh. What? Ooh, good selection of models. Infernus Marines, Captain Gravis. Yeah, those are perfect. Are you gonna build up your Terminators? Are you gonna give them what heavy weapon? I'm probably guessing the heavy flamer. Because honestly, that's just a great weapon to have. Oh man, that list sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, you have the crew kill team. Nice. Yeah, I have a couple. I've been working up on the new Aquilons, but I think my first fully ready set was some Hearthkin. And then I also have from the, what was it? It's Space Marine Heroes, the third season of it, where it came out with if you can get all 7, you can build up a kill team of ridiculously overpowered just normal Space Marines, but you can only play 5 to 6 of them at a time. That was a very fun one for me. Though I haven't fully finished painting that one on up. I got halfway through doing an Imperial Fist color scheme on them, but I got distracted by some other fun ones, fun projects I've been working on. Actually, you know what? I might give you a sneak preview on a video coming possibly soon. Oh yeah, if you have the regular Terminators, you can take 4 with their Storm Bolters. The captain can probably have a power weapon, or you can. I think you might be able to give him a hammer. If not, it might just be a power sword or power claws. But there is always for like regular like shooting Terminators, you can always take one heavy weapon. For me, I mainly take the assault cannon because Dark Angels love bolters. Um, Also, just having like a Gao 10 on your arm is just a fun feeling to have. But yeah, you should be able to take the heavy flamer option. Its rules are pretty broken if I remember correctly. Let me double check the stats on it for you. Because I remember I was gonna choose it because my brother-in-law plays Necrons and they love saving on anything that has the number 4 in it. So if you're facing Necrons, try to dodge the number 4. Yeah, heavy flamer, 12-inch range, ignores cover with torrent, D6 attacks, strength 5, AP minus 1, D1 or damage 1. It's all around just a great flamer to have. But yeah, let me go grab that sneak peek. Be right back. Alrighty then, so I'm not sure how many of you will be able to fully see what this is, but we can see we have, good old Dark Angels logo on there. But this is definitely an Astrea super heavy tank. Which, as we can tell from the size of a Space Marine by it, is very laughable in size. And it's going to be very fun to paint and field in a game of 40k, and I cannot wait for it. I'm so excited to paint it, but it is massive, so it's the whole reason why I haven't painted it yet. Because it's terrifying. One small step, one small like little mess up. You can see here I'm already missing a little railing because resin. It's terrifying. Actually, no, I just remembered actually. In Furnace Marines, I am actually painting up some of those for Bringers of Judgment, which is a Dark Angel successor chapter that is very fun, and they definitely do not just blow up a planet every single time they see one. Which means they definitely do blow up a planet every single time they see one. You know what? Instead of having like how genocidal each faction is, can we just call it the Cryptmen scale? Like, I know the Eldari are very much Eldar only, and Tyranids, well, they're just hungry. But like, how many Cryptmens is like a Tyranid battle force? Or even like a Space Marine like Exterminatus fleet? Is that like a half a Cryptman? Maybe like a fourth of a Cryptman? Because I feel like if you blow up at least 20 planets, you're probably on the Cryptman scale. And I feel like the Dark Angels deleted a lot of things from the libraries of astral charts in lore. Oh, thank you for thinking that the Astraeus is going to be fun. I I'm very scared to fully start painting him and recording video for him because if I mess up, I do not know how well I'll be able to save it. Yeah, there goes the camera, trying to freaking focus. But yeah, the Bringers of Judgment also have little flame effects on them, and I want to put like little golden flames on the side of the Estrella Super Heavy, and that's just a terrifying prospect. Probably one that you feel with painting up hand flames on a Invictus Warsuit. But you know, if we can do it for the Estrella Super Heavy, I think we can get your Invictus Warsuit done. I believe in you. Oh man, these things are tiny. Come on. Go the other way. Oh yeah, I went the other way. Whoops. Ah, you know it is what it is. Keyed joints. I wish more space marines actually came with them. Though I will say, if you're painting up in Furnace Marines, you probably got a nice time going because for the most part, I believe they're push fit. Which, that's always just a great thing to have. Push fit makes everything 10,000 times easier. I love how this Rattling has just a pouch filled with sausages. Yeah, sorry if the camera's being a little hard to focus. It's nice having this like cuttable map, but sometimes it's got such nice colors and contrast that I think the camera likes to focus to it a bit too often, which is not always the best for when you're trying to record, but we get used to it. Flip this guy around. Also, as a fun thing, not sure how many of you guys are into Magic. I know, such a great things to hear right now, Magic. But while I'm priming these guys, I may open up a pack or two just for funsies on the stream here. And we'll see what we get. Alrighty then, we're almost at the airbrushing stage. Now, I wish I could move my camera on over to show you, but I do not have like a 100-foot long HDMI cable. So when it's done airbrushing, I'll put it down so we can look at it all together. Wow, this terrain piece actually has quite a lot of things to glue onto it. That's actually really nice. It's actually one thing I really like about these commemorative pieces, that they really just feel like very strong pieces on their own, and they just have a lot of love and thought put into them. I'll actually show you one of my favorites that I've painted on up, and that I think is just a really cool design for one. Yeah, let me see if I can grab him real quick. Yeah, thank you so much, honestly, for replying so often to my questions and being here in the chat so much. It means a lot. And yeah, no, I can't wait to. I know I kind of put this up pretty last minute notice because holidays can always be a bit stressful. So sometimes it's always a bit hard to get all the notifications I would like on out about things I'm doing, and I'm not always the greatest when it comes to routines. But thank you so much for popping on in, and it really does mean a lot that you've been in the chat so often. Thank you for that. And yeah, here, let me. This guy's a little dusty. Yeah. So this is probably one of the very first commemorative ones I ever built, which is the Vindicare Assassin. And I just, as like a set piece, this is one of my favorites. Like, I could not have asked for such a better designed one, and one that fits so perfectly in the lore. It's perfect, and the model is just so well detailed and everything. It's awesome. So these commemorative like miniatures are always hold a very deep place in my heart. All right, what piece did I just cut out? Yeah, that was 4. And if any of you are wondering what knife I am using to kind of clean up these miniatures, this is just a random knife that I found online that uses scalpels. And I like it a lot more than the little like X-Acto blades because A, it's very sharp, so try not to cut yourself with it. But it gives such a nice clean cut when you use the tip because you can. The tip is very it's very flimsy or not flimsy, but thin steel, so you can bend it, and you can actually get some like nice cuts that actually match up the curves. And it's very nice for giving a nice flat edge to a miniature when there's hard to reach little nooks. What a weird way that glues up. I thought for a moment that this piece was going to glue down like right there, but it actually sits in right there and goes up. I guess it's for like the little ammo crate that they're holding the food in. Fun thing also about seam cream, or just the plastic cement with some extra sprues in it, is that if you ever need to kind of make a nice little like wet texture or just kind of blend something together, this stuff works out great. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that looks nice. Perfect, and I think we're on the very last couple of touches here, and then we can get this guy all primed up within an inch of his life. I might do this as the kind of snowy scene that they have on the box, mainly because I really like it. What do you guys think? Snowy scene, kind of like outside of like a hive storm battle, or like just like a battle on a, well, hive city, or should I kind of go more for like my own flavor, or possibly where the box art's kind of leaning towards? I'm thinking kind of for, holiday sakes and everything to do more of a like snowy scene, but I'd like to get you guys' input on that. And thank you for the couple of people who joined here in and out. And again, huge shout out to Build, Pay, and Destroy. You've been here for pretty much the whole stream, and it does mean a lot. You've been a huge moral boost and for all of this. And also, thank you to my brother-in-laws keeping me company throughout this. Whoops. Manual fell down for a second. Perfect. We're on the final stretch. I hate when they put like pieces onto these sprues that are almost impossible to actually cut off the sprue. Because no one wants to damage their piece. And yet, Games Workshop is like, you want to get this? You have to fight for it. Perfect. Definitely gotta clean this guy up. And be a bit careful about it too. Oops. Yeah, I can clean that guy up with a bit of seam cream at the very end. Not sure if you guys could hear that my cat is meowing. Sometimes he can be quite loud. But he is adorable, so it is allowed. Alrighty then. Let's get these last couple of pieces glued on in. Then probably take a small break. Just like go to the bathroom, get some water, do all that fun jazz. And then, and also probably let the airbrush run because it is going to be loud and noisy with its compressor. And then we can get right into some card openings and then right into some painting. So, getting on the last little accoutrements. Oh my gosh, there's like little feet placements for them. That's amazing. Yeah, there we go. A little bit more sprue goo. Put in that turkey. Or at least whatever goes for turkey in 40K. Perfect. Then got a little plastic fragment stuck to his foot. Perfect. There they are. And honestly, they look fantastic. I could not be happier. Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to go on a small, tiny break. I'm going to go ahead and get this guy airbrushed real quick. And then be right back. we're back. Just got these guys all primed on up. A bit dark, but they really look like they took well. I'm gonna let these guys fully dry on out. I use Vallejo airbrush spray-on primer. It gets you a really nice. Let me see if I can get this guy zoomed in on. Too far. You can get some really nice, clean spray-on primer, and it just looks fantastic. So, got that there. But, as these guys are still a bit wet, as you can tell, a bit glossy, we are going to be doing some little card openings for my other addiction other than plastic. Cardboard. And as a fun one for everyone, I was probably going to drive people crazy that I do not have a clean workspace. But you know what? That's for all those magic snobs out there. We have a couple things here. We have a double Masters pack. And I'm going to at least open up a Ravnica pack. So, just a small little fun interim here real quick as we wait for like the 5 minutes that it's going to take for the spray-on primer to fully dry. First off, we have Pirate's Pillage. I know for the people who came here for Warhammer, it's probably really strange that I'm opening up Magic cards, but honestly, I find it funny. And Magic is just a lot of fun to play. We also got Thought Scour, Strands of Undeath, and as you can always chime in whenever you hear a nice card.
I literally don't know any of those cards that are in the commons section.
Yeah, let me get out of the commons. Balstrid Spy, Advanced Switch Ring. Ooh, Unburial Rites.
Very good uncommon.
We have Spider Spawning. Put an R there for some fun reason. Thought Scour again, but this time in the showcase artwork. The same with Bloodbraid Elf. We do have the Rakdos, oh my gosh, Carnarium?
Yeah, Carnarium.
Carnarium. Seeker of the Way.
Draft All-Star.
Now, I don't know if this one's Colahan's or Colahan's Command.
Oh, Colligan's Command, yeah.
Colagan's Command, okay. Hey,
Former modern staple.
everyone's favorite, Teferi's Protection. In showcase. Non-foil.
Oh, well, that's just as good. I hate foils.
Conqueror's Flail. Everyone's favorite Pithing Needle. And a nice little Soldier Boar token. Overall, very fun. Now we're going to get to that Ravnica Remastered. Yeah, earlier this year, I got my brother-in-law very much into Warhammer, and this year he also very much got me into Magic. So we traded. So, got a nice Saproling common. We're going to start on off here with a Hallowed Fountain, a Godless Shrine, 2 lands immediately.
Oh, Godless Shrine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Shockland.
Isn't a Hallowed Fountain also Shockland?
Oh, you just got 2 shocks? Jesus.
Oh, and they're actually both, they're plain swamps, so you can tutor them. Nice.
These are collector boosters, not normally open collector boosters.
See, that's the fun part of having collector boosters, is that you get some fun cards from them every once in a while. Definitely not an investment. You probably should just go out and buy singles. Don't do what I do. Paint how I do. Don't open cards how I do. Oh my gosh.
Borborygmus.
Yeah, Borborygmus Enraged. Deathrite Shaman. Moldervine Cloak. Ooh, and is a charm. Totally lost. Is it Signet? Ooh, Demir Guild Mage. Junk Troller. Grueld Guild Mage. Drudge Beetle. Some of these names they always come up with are always just truly amazing. And for our last here, we got Scab Clan Mauler, Sky Knight Legionnaire, and a makeshift battalion. So thank you for joining us in our fun little interim. And now it's time to actually get back to painting. Or actually start off painting. Before I was just building. Now we actually get to the fun part. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are watching from the US, but if you're in Europe, you are extremely lucky because you actually get to have sable brushes, whereas here in the States, no, we don't. So, I have a pretty decent set of brushes I like to use. Speaking of, where did I move my brush to? There it is. I use some golden maple. Now it does say finest sable. I don't know if these are actually true sable brushes. They do work very nice and very, very, very well. And they keep their tips perfectly. I do also use a bit of brush cleaner on them just to help keep them alive a bit longer and after I do a lot of heavy painting. Also, not sure, everyone's probably mentioned this at one point. You don't need to have a wet palette. I definitely use a wet palette a lot. It just helps when between working on projects and where I'm at, it's usually pretty moist all the time here and just in our environment. I'm not out in like Arizona or anything. I live in the Midwest, so we always have moisture somewhere where we don't want it. Foundations, heat, house somewhere. But for the wet palette, it works out very well. And also one thing that I use a lot, I don't have one easy to show you. I usually have a spare I had somewhere. But in the bottom of my water glasses, I have a little brush cleaning pad. Just like a little silicone, like, almost like a window cling. It's got a little suction cup on the bottom. You can press it down to the bottom of any cup. It just sits there, seals there, and you can pretty much instantly clean out your brush with it. I got a pack of 5 from, you won't believe it, Blix, or Dick Blix, Art Goods, for $1. So you don't need to go out and buy like the $20 water cup to specifically clean out your brushes. Sometimes you just can get cheap little resin measuring cups in like a pack of 20, throw one of them in there, and I always have one for metallic painting and one for non-metallic colors. You always want to have kind of separate ones for metallics because those metal flakes will fall off, and if you don't want everything to be candy coated with some nice metal sheen, would recommend getting a separate water cup. And with that being said, let's move on to the painting. And I just dropped something. Where did that go? Ah, there it is. So sadly, I will not be working on my favorite color, Dark Angel's Green. So sad. But we will be working on a nice kind of a regular, kind of like Militarum green for these guys. Now I do have them off their bases, or off the like full decorative base, because I want to get fully behind their cloaks, and when they're all glued down I can't really do that well. So I'm going to be holding them on these little alligator clip sticks. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm going to put a little bit of a white backdrop, just a little like napkin. There we go, now we can actually see what we're talking about. Now you can choose whichever paint company you like to go with. I used to paint with only ever Citadel paints. I still use quite a lot. Lauren Forest is a very key good paint for Astra Militarum. But personally, I've been doing a lot more with Army Painter paints, and these just work beautifully. They're very consistent, nice to work with, and they've not led me astray once. So would recommend, if you want to look for a good paint company, Army Painter, perfectly up there. So what we're going to start off with is I'm going to wet my brush, wipe off any excess on my hand, and our first color we're going to do for our base is going to be some scaly hide. I think you guys can see right there. Perfect. And I don't mind a little overpainting here and there. I can always go back, touch up, and fix any colors I really need to. I know some people tell you to stay in the lines as best as you can, but sometimes you just need to be able to tell yourself it's okay. Paint over that little brown leather strap with green. You can always come back to it. So far, colors look good. I'll also probably use Scaly Hide as a highlight color for the darker greens that will make up his like rain jacket and hat. Perfect. We'll go ahead and set him off to the side, as we'll work on our next one. And we're just gonna start off by doing some nice thin coats. I usually add just a little bit of water, a dab of water, to help flow a bit better. But honestly, with the Army Painter paints, you can kind of get away with not always having to do that. Sometimes they are just so smooth that you can just put them directly on a nice wet brush, and they will work wonders for you. And for the upper jacket, what would be a nice good color? I think if I actually had some generic, you know, that's not bad of a color. I can work with that. There are some colors from the Army Painter that I haven't fully used yet. Oops, I just whacked the other one. And one of those right now is the color just Army Green, which I didn't think I would actually kind of like, but it does give me a nice like Acadian flak armor colors. So we'll give this a try and see how I like it. Oh yeah, I think building this on up, it should work out perfectly for us. Oops, didn't actually get that much paint on my brush. And it's always okay if your paint comes off a bit splotchy. We can always come back in, add some more layers to it. And especially when you're painting off of black, it can always be a bit hard. You can always do a zenithal too if you want to get like a better understanding of where highlights and shadows are going to be. I'm not going to put too much into the highlights and shadows on these guys because I'm going to cover up a lot of them with snow effects. And I think that'll be probably the bigger selling point of them that I will like a lot more than just doing like a whole like highlight shadow and then putting on snow effects. Also gonna go ahead and there we go. Get some paint onto the ammo box here. Yeah, I wish the green made a nice solider coat going down, but I also know that painting with these kinds of greens can always take a bit of extra layering. Dark Angels are always notorious for having to put down lots of layers of green on them. And if you don't, they never look quite right. That's why I was never a big fan of certain Citadel contrast paints. A lot of them are great, but there are a couple that really make things either way too dark or need too much layering to actually work. And of course, infamously, is the Dark Angels green, which is just abominable to work with sometimes when you need to apply like 10 coats to actually do something good with it. And if you dare base it in white, it's your funeral. Because it will not look correct. And you will have to put on way too many layers to actually get it down to a good green. Though, I guess that also could always be true for other factions. I think I just painted the most out of Dark Angels, Guard, a bit of Tau, a bit of Chaos, but personally I always like my Space Marines. None of those darn blueberries either. We personally will never forgive them for breaking the Lion's Sword. I would love a web comic of just Gilliman meeting back up with the Lion, and the Lion just like smacks the Emperor's sword out of his hands like, no, you're an idiot. Give it to me. You don't deserve the sword. You broke mine. But then the Ultramarines will use plot armor so Gilliman doesn't actually get hurt. Ooh, excuse me. Had a bit of hiccuping there. When you're painting, especially with a cloth, I've always found a nice thing you can always try to do is, depending on what your background color you're starting off with is, like with here black is mine, I'm going to try to push most of my color to like these ridges so that the inside valleys of them will start to look naturally darker. And it can give you a nice, easy way to kind of spot how you want folds in clothing or shadows and highlights to look on them. And best thing you can also do is just let the paint do its work. It will always drip to a certain area, let it work from there. You can either highlight up or shadow down. Like this guy, you can see some like really nice, it's nice pulling to the edges. A lot of the folds are holding a bit of color, but the recesses aren't really holding the most right now, just a little bit of color. And that allows them to pop really nicely when you want to do some little touch-ups here. And I know this guy's just drying a bit, so I'm going to be very careful with my brush strokes. But sometimes I like to go on through and just kind of highlight the folds a bit. Now this isn't our highlighted color, this is the same kind of base color we're putting down. But as we build up more in those high points, the valleys will start to show more as just natural shadows. And it will kind of give us this nice appearance. But especially for them being in like a little snowy or like rain-cloaked area, these little ponchos would be perfect. Sorry for missing your message, Swagalos. Haven't bought any models, any advice for painting. So, do you have an army in mind? Because if you do have an army in mind, one of the best things you can do is, I would figure out kind of what you naturally feel like you want to play towards. Let me type this on in so I might get to them quicker. Yeah, so when I come to thinking about painting, for me it's always kind of starting off with a faction. Because once you figure out which faction you want to paint with, or you want to play with, will kind of really tell you what you might want to go for painting. If you're going to be playing Guard, you're going to be painting an ungodly amount of miniatures, Because, oh god, what is it, like 50 points for a squad of 10 guardsmen or something? It's such a like high number of units to like point value that you're pretty much just a horde army, but with tanks. Now, if you're going the tank aspect route, you're probably not going to have that many miniatures. You can probably get away with like 20 tanks for a 2,000 point army. In that case, most regular painting styles would be totally fine. I would start off more with airbrushing. Airbrushing is probably always one of the best ways to get a lot of miniatures to a pretty much unanimously done state. That's what I did for my Hellblasters here. These were all primed with a green spray-on primer from Vallejo. And I went ahead and just added a bit of color matching or color fixing for my Dark Angel setup before hitting them with Absolution Green, which kind of gets them to that nice, perfect Dark Angels like dark green. And that's great because you're taking away like pretty much like 85% of the hardest part of painting a mini, which is just basing every corner of it or priming every corner of it. Now, if you're playing a more elite army, like let's say Necrons or, God forbid, Eldari, you can still, would recommend airbrushing to the closest color you're going to be painting with. But from there, the style of painting is going to be a little different. Eldari is going to be a lot of wet blending, and usually with very vibrant colors. So I would recommend priming with a kind of like Corax white or a spray-on white primer. You could do black and then do a very heavy zenithal on top, but you really want a good base of white because your colors are going to be very bright and vibrant. Same thing would go for like White Scars. If you are going to be painting up Necrons, the strategy changes so much because at that point, what you're going to be doing is probably priming in black. If you have a metallic one, you could prime in just like a dark steel, like metallic that's pretty close to like Necrodermis. And then from there, all you gotta do is add some white to where the lights are going to be going. And depending on which dynasty you are, it's just a different kind of how would I phrase it? A different color that you would add for either the lights or for like a armor segment. I have where? Yeah, here we go. So we all know Necrons look, for the most part, we're all used to seeing these ones which are silver with, black pauldrons, green blades. There are the bronze ones that are the Silent Kings, which, what dynasty is is Imatek? Yeah. Yeah, Sautek. They have a very generic Necron art style. You can always go for the funner ones. This one I did. The Mefrit Dynasty loves to have orange as their highlight color or their special color. In this case, I decided to do white to kind of contrast the orange better. And he comes off very bright and vibrant, and it was a lot of fun to paint. And you can totally choose a way to paint like this, but as you can tell, it's very simple. I mean, it's just applying some whites to the higher areas, making sure your blacks stay in the kind of recessed shadow areas or joint bits, and then making sure your blades or your glowy bits are, well, as bright as possible. So Necrons, very easy to paint, very easy to play. If you're going to be playing Eldari, it becomes a bit harder to play. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Eldar have a lot of things they can do and a lot of special powers. But overall, they kind of play like a normal army, where it's a whole lot of more psychic stuff they do and a lot of moving at Mach 10. Whereas a army like Space Marines or, Hearthkin, even though that's not a full range yet,
One day.
one day they will actually get all of their minis. A lot of the more generic armies, orcs, Tyranids, God rest your soul if you get into Mechanicus, they will definitely have not as many paint differentials you're going to do for them. They're all probably going to be the same thing of airbrushing and then slowly working up through highlight shadowing, or if you just want to do simple tabletop ready, you can do a zenithal and then do a speed paint on top. That's the way people usually do the quickest, is add a nice speed paint or a contrast paint, and that will get you to a very high level looking miniature for play. If you want to have a in between battle ready or tabletop ready and like parade ready, spending some more time, the thing you're going to want to focus on would be probably the highlights and shadows on your units. And that can be a bit much in the very beginning. I would recommend sticking to the airbrush and possibly contrast paint way, because that will give you really good results, but on a budget. And it's going to look very well painted, but you won't have to sink in hours and hours to it. And I think that's something that a lot of people overlook is how long it can actually take to paint up a whole miniature army, or even just a single miniature. I mean, I know I've been putting down my miniature for a little bit here and talking about different ways of painting, but even here, when I started painting this guy, it's probably been about 30 minutes and I only have 2 colors on him. So it's one of those things where it comes with a bit of a time sink, and a lot of people find it very relaxing. That's the way I find it. I find it very relaxing and enjoyable. That's why I like to stream it, or at least like to start streaming it and make videos on it. But I know that's not for everyone. So if you don't want to spend too much time on it, I would recommend going with an army that doesn't require too many units, but also not a huge time sink either. One of the best that I didn't mention because they have a lot of details, but you don't have a whole lot of miniatures with them, is 2 Knights or Custodes. Because, I mean, Knights is 5 big robots or 5 big mechs, I should say. They're pretty much right at 2,000 points. Unless you want to run a bunch of armigers or war dogs. And if that's the case, more power to you. It's going to still take a bit to paint because there's a lot of detail on them. But at the very end, you won't have that many miniatures, and you'll probably still beat out most people who are trying to build an army from scratch and then paint it. And they're also not too hard to assemble. Best probably for price-wise, game-wise, and just generally a really easy army to build, paint, and field are definitely going to be Custodes. Custodes are pretty much all metallic all the time. They have a lot of heavy detailed objects on them, but if it's all metallic, you can easily just put on some Urgrax Earthshade or some Reichland Flesh Tone and add a bit of kind of shading and color for the gold. And boom, you're basically done with a Custode at that point. It's the same thing with Age of Sigmar miniatures. Like this Sigmarite, looks like a really pretty good paint job, This took me, I don't know, 30 to 45 minutes, at worst an hour. And that's with some nice decent shading, making sure some recessed areas are in, shading all around and putting different colors in every spot. If you wanted to make it tabletop ready, you probably wouldn't have to put in all of those details, but I mean, it's not bad. And if you were just working on 10 of these, boom, 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 one right after each other, you're going to have no problem pumping out a whole squad in no time. So Custodes, Sigmarites, very easy to paint. And kind of like how I was saying with like Eldari, or in some cases some of the like newer Primaris Space Marines that have lots of details on them. Because like this is the Terminator captain, and he's just got details everywhere on them. And that can, well, it's a very old mini. Oh man, I got a paint spot on him. I'll have to fix that. There's a lot of details on them, so they can be a bit hard. Age of Sigmar, you know, kind of an elite army that has lots of detail. Ossiarchs, you're gonna be spending some time on these models when you paint them. So preferred painting strategy is definitely going to be airbrush. If you want tabletop ready, use a zenithal highlight and really use contrast paints to the best of your abilities. But for 40k, best starting army I would probably say would be Necrons or Custodes. Very, very easy to understand game plan. You really can't go too wrong with them. And they're very, very nice to just paint on up. I've never had a bad experience painting a Custodes or a Necron. I have gotten upset several times when painting Space Marines, which is my primary army, because man, it takes like 2 hours to build like 10 or 5, and then it's probably going to take you about like 5 hours to paint them if you're painting them up to a very high level. Of course, you can cheat them a lot with just getting pretty much their closest to their final color done with airbrushing. But at the same time, not everyone can get an airbrush, so double check kind of like what army you want to start off with, and that will very much show you what painting style you're going to want to lean towards more. I will say the nice thing too is that as much as you don't need like a $200 airbrush, there are some airbrushes that you can pick up like on Amazon that are like battery rechargeable, that are like $30-40, and they work decent. You have to clean them a lot and make sure you like maintain them, but if you do that, I mean they save your button all the time that it takes to just paint up like one squad. You can have primed an entire army. And that's quite the power to have when you're just getting started in Warhammer, because it can feel like a daunting task, and then the longer it takes you to get to it, the more daunting it becomes. And the other thing too is when you're like watching YouTubers online, especially for painting, lots of them are going to show you probably the highest level they can do. I mean, not everyone's going to be fielding an army of Hellblasters, you know, with non-metallic high points and shadows on them, with lots of intricate bits painted onto them. It is totally fine to field a just tabletop ready army. That's probably the easiest way if you want to get into playing. I personally have played several games of Warhammer. I like painting them up to a very high level. That's a very fun, relaxing thing for me. But if playing the game is fun and relaxing, just, you know, slap chop and you can get to it pretty easily. I know it's a very long-winded explanation, but I think Swagalos may have left, so I at least wanted to put in a full explanation for him in case he wanted to come back and rewatch the video later. But thank you for chiming on in. And if anyone else has any other painting advice for Warhammer or just what I'm working on, always feel free to ask. I'm going to do my best to better check in with my chat log. My computer's off to my side, so I don't always see the chat log immediately. And sometimes I get very locked in on what I'm painting. And for anyone who just joined or joined back, we're at the actually painting up of the commemorative provisionally prepared. And I've kind of decided I'm going to do these guys in a snowy scene since we've just had the holidays. And I don't think I'll be able to fully get them up to the putting on like white flock and snow. That might be for, a full video when it comes on out or the next stream. But yeah, I really want to say thank you all for joining, those who have been here the entire time. Especially to Build, Paint, Destroy, and Swagalos for typing in the chat. It really does mean a lot. I've streamed once before, but it was a long time ago, and I did not know exactly what I was doing. Still don't know when it comes to streaming, but I'm working on it. And it means a lot that you guys could stay here, stop by, and watch, and thank you for everything. It's very much an honor, and thank you. I like stumbling over my words. It's great. I will say I do like the streaming setup and process. Oops. I will probably be trying to stream at least once a month. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it towards the end of the month. For right now, they're probably going to be set up to always be near the end of the month. And from there on, if people like this, or it just seems to help out with the workflow of everything, I might be streaming more often. And I'll definitely be trying to do simul streaming here soon. I just did not have the energy or the spoons to figure out how to get Twitch to talk with Streamlabs while also streaming the YouTube. I know those programs can be very finicky. Now, I really like this color a lot for the jacket. I'm going to probably bring this down to a bit of a darker green because it's a bit bright for me right now, but I do like it a lot for the kind of like the front shirt. So I'm going to add a little bit up here and then probably just shade down the rain cloak and the hat to a little bit of a darker like Militarum green. And that's one fun thing that also can make painting a bit easier, is that you always don't need to have all of the exact colors. You can have pretty close to what you need. But for me, I use a lot of using a speed paint to tint down a green. Like for my Dark Angels, I will normally start off with Guardian Green, which is already pretty dark, but it's also pretty bright comparative to what the final result is. So I'll actually go on through and then tint them on down with Absolution Green. And that kind of brings out a nice darker or richer color. And it saves a lot of energy than having to start at your darkest color and then work upwards, or your lightest color and work down to your darkest. Speed paints have been a very, very good addition to the world of actually painting miniatures. So I would try to take full use of them if you can. Really, they're an absolute perfect tool and addition to any miniature painter's set. I personally like Army Painter speed paints. I know Vallejo has a lot of good ones too. Can't forget Citadel Paint's original contrast paints. They're very good. I still use Snakebite Leather and Black Templar because they're by far some of the best contrast paints I've ever used. I just don't like to buy their little paint pots anymore. Mainly, it's just so hard to kind of like squeeze them on out onto like a wet palette. If you're painting straight from the pot, it's not that problem. It's not that big of a deal. But when you start to, have to keep like loading up a wet palette by opening up the pot and then scooping out a large amount of paint and putting it on there and hopefully use it all up in time. When you have like Army Painter or Vallejo that just has a little eyedropper bottle, it makes things a lot easier to work with. Also, another good little tip advice for painting, you don't always need the most expensive brushes in the world. I know there are some people that swear by always getting the best brushes possible and then using those that way. I've been able to do a lot with a like cheapo little tiny army painter brush that I picked up at my local game store. And as you can see, it's not ergonomic to hold at all. It's a little triangle. It's it works. Is it the best? No, but it's cost effective. I mean, for all the little small details I have to do sometimes, a little cheap $5 brush is all you need. There are some people that swear by sable. I love my sable brushes, but if you're not going to be painting up like to a high level or like thousands of miniatures or hundreds of miniatures, I'd honestly recommend more investing into air brushes first and then just keeping with cheapo brushes, and it will just save you a whole lot. Oh, and always rinse out your brushes. I know I probably don't have to say that, but I've been asked that before. Always rinse out your brushes. Your brushes will thank you. Your miniatures will thank you. The Emperor will thank you. Well, he might not thank you, but we can all imagine that he did to make it better. So yeah, have you guys all been doing with I know Bill Paint Destroy is working on their salamanders. Has anyone else chosen a new army to paint this year, or working to add some miniatures to a currently existing army? And what I'm doing here right now is I'm kind of going on over with a gray speed paint to kind of lower the shorts, or I guess pants they're wearing, down from a pure black to a little bit more of a gray. And also just kind of add a little bit more white and warmth to the feet, so when I paint over with a flesh tone, they look a bit more fully unified. A fun way you can also paint leather if you want to have a very like bright shiny leather instead of kind of painting white or gray onto it, or like yellow, you can always paint on a gold. Personally, Retributor Gold gives it a very nice look when you put on a brown leather contrast like snakebite leather. You can get a very rich leather color coming from it, especially if you start to put some more snakebite leather and a couple extra layers on the edges. It really ties together a nice like handmade leather feel. Just so we can grab some details. Yeah. Alrighty then. Wish I could stay here and paint for like another 10 hours. But I do have other things that I am doing today and on the schedule. So I wanted to thank you all for showing on up today. For being my first stream of this year, and just as a first holiday stream, kind of keeping up a little, or starting up a new tradition here, and something new for the channel. It's been super awesome to have you all here, be a part of this, type in the chat, have fun. It's really, you've made my day, and it's been super awesome to have you here. This will be going up onto the channel. I'll probably cut up some stream clips from this for painting tips and other fun things. We'll probably finish up these 2 rattlings a bit later and put up a video from that. You guys got to see some sneak peeks for videos coming on out here soon and some new projects. It's been a super fun adventure today. Thank you all for joining. And I've been Asmodai. Thank you for being here. And I'll let you watchers go on back. All right. See ya later.